My name is Michael Shoemate and welcome to Logo Design Theory, how branding design really works. Are there such things as true principles in art and design? Let's talk about it. Before the Renaissance, artists knew that parallel lines in architecture appeared to taper at different angles, but their attempts to show this realistically in painting were inconsistent at best. Here, in a 1342 painting titled The Birth of the Virgin by Pietro Lorenzetti, note how he attempted to show the perspective in the floor tiles and in the tops of the walls. Here I've highlighted those lines of perspective that should have lined up. It shows that Lorenzetti, along with all other artists at this time, didn't understand the laws of linear perspective and how they worked. This resulted in lots of paintings with wonky architecture. It wasn't until about 1425 that Filippo Brunelleschi figured out the underlying principles of linear perspective and shared it with his artist colleagues. All across Europe there was a smacking sound as artists slapped their foreheads and said, "Mamma mia, of course." This painting by Pietro Perugino shows that once the principle was disclosed, everyone could see it clearly, and virtually all artists quickly adopted this principle. Why? Because it worked. In the mid-1800s, a chemist named Eugène Chevreul was dye master for the Gobelin tapestry works in Paris. He did extensive experiments combining threads of different colors. He formulated the theory of simultaneous contrast of colors, after observing that threads of very different hue looked richer when next to each other than they did when placed next to threads of similar colors. Many of the Impressionists and post-impressionist painters were thrilled with this information. Here we see the practical application of Chevreul's principles in the work of Claude Monet. We also see the interactive color at work in the painting of Camille Pissarro. Vincent van Gogh even kept balls of different colored yarn to work out specific color combinations in his paintings. His paintings, more than any other of those painters, resembled separate threads of color. And what beauty Van Gogh and the others created with the principles Chevreul discovered. In my second week of teaching college branding design, I told a student that the logo concept he was working on would not be suitable as a professional identity design. He very reasonably asked me why. I answered, I didn't know why, but that his concept was still a bad idea. I was certain some principle was being violated, but I couldn't articulate what it was. I also knew that my answer was totally inadequate. I determined then and there that I would discover what those constant, unchanging principles were. That 25-year quest has led me to look deeply at branding design and to seek what those constant, unchanging, bedrock principles were. Fads in art and design come and go, but principles don't. Fashions can be very exciting one day and are so been there, done that the next. Trends are temporary, but principles are enduring. They stand the test of time. We can ignore principles for a while, but violating principles just breaks our work, like waves of water against a rock. Over time, we come back to true principles. Why? Because they work. They always work. I believe there are true principles in every area of artistic endeavor, including branding design. I won't pretend to know them all, but I'm sure I've discovered at least a few. Those are what I want to share in these videos. It doesn't matter where knowledge comes from. When we find true principles, we would do well to adopt them. Bedrock principles in graphic design trump fad and fashion every time. There are few areas where this is more evident than in branding design. Designers whose identities violate those principles will find that sooner or later their creations will be replaced. Those who vainly seek to be on the leading edge find out more often than not that they are on the bleeding edge. The underlying principles of identity design don't change. Those who cater to temporary swings in taste will find their work goes out of style quickly. Sadly, designers who think they can do anything and call it an identity don't understand the nature of corporate identity at all. For more information, go to logodesigntheory.com. If you found this useful, be sure to like this video, subscribe, and share it with anyone who needs to know about logo design.